I asked you to describe the difference between surf and swell height, would you be able to? That's what we're talking about today. Welcome to the Wipeout Weekly, the daily podcast for beginners, wannabe surfers, and seasoned wipeout enthusiasts. No hype, no filler, just the highs, lows, and honest truth about learning to surf and finding your place in surf culture. I'm your host, Suze Wilson. Let's go out. As I have been staring at many different surf forecasting apps recently for our It's a Small, Small, Wonderful World of Surf apps, it occurred to me that swell versus surf height is one of the most confusing things ever. Because surf forecasts mix these up all the time in the way that they are being displayed, which may result in us sometimes showing up to the beach expecting overhead waves and instead getting flat as a pancake disappointment. To clarify, swell height and surf height are not the same. They are not even measured in the same place, for goodness sake. Swell height describes the size of waves out in the open ocean before they reach land. Imagine you're on a boat far offshore. The waves moving under you. That's the swell. They may be traveling thousands of miles across the ocean after being generated by storms somewhere else. Swell forecasts measure these waves before they interact with the coastline. One more for the people in the back. Swell height refers to the size of waves traveling across the open ocean, essentially the waves you would see if you were out on a boat. Surf height is the size of the waves once they reach the shore and start breaking. This is what we surfers care about. When swell hits shallow water near the coastline, it changes shape. The ocean floor slows the wave down, causing it to rise and eventually break. That's the wave you paddle into. And one more time for the people in the back. Surf height refers to the size of waves once they reach the shore and begin breaking. The waves you see and surf at your local spot. Same ocean, completely different numbers. But why? Science. The swell you see on the forecast does not automatically translate into the same size wave at your beach. That's because once swell approaches land, a lot of things start affecting it. Start with the swell direction, where some beaches face certain directions better than others. Then we've got ocean floor shape. That's your reefs, sandbars, and points that reshape waves. Our beloved swell period, the longer period swells, carry more energy. And wind conditions change too. Onshore wind can destroy waves. Finally, any local geography such as headlands and islands can block swell. What all of this means is that two swells with the same height offshore can produce completely different waves once they reach the beach. Some forecast sites show swell height offshore. Others estimate surf height at your beach. I need to lie down right now. Both approaches are useful, but they do tell different things. Estimating surf height from swell data is complicated because it requires understanding how waves transform as they move into shallow water. Surf forecasting models take into account swell direction, energy, the ocean floor, and a lot of physics. Which is why two forecast sites can show completely different numbers for the same day. If you only look at swell height, you might think a spot will be firing when it's actually tiny. Or you might skip a session that turns out to be great. Understanding the difference between swell height and surf height is useful, of course. But even more useful is knowing which one is your surf forecasting app of choice showing. And eventually, you might discover the real secret of surfing. The forecast is wrong half the time anyway. And that's all for today. Check out the Wipeout Weekly for our free newsletter, more stories and ways to connect with us. Thanks for listening. See you tomorrow for more of the Wipeout Weekly.